Hello, this is Luke from Orcs Head Magic, and I'm coming at you today with another modern deck tech. And today is a deck which I have only just started playing, and it will probably most likely be the deck that I play at GP Birmingham this year. I'm absolutely in love with the deck. I think it resembles everything that I enjoy in Magic, and of course mono green. Aggro is my favourite colour. So, I mean, you can call it mono green aggro, mono green stompy. I normally call it mono green stompy, but it's a very much a creature orientated deck with a lot of pump spells to finish the game very quickly. Absolutely love the deck at the moment. So yeah, we'll go on to that. So first of all, we'll go to the creatures, and we're playing 8 1-drops overall. The first 1-drop we're playing is a 4 of Experiment 1, which is for 1 forest, and it's a 1/1, and it has Evolve, which is an interesting ability. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if that creature has greater power or toughness than this creature, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. So if you have a very good mana curve going and you're sort of hitting your land drops, or when you're hitting your creatures and you're making them bigger and bigger, you're making this guy bigger. So sort of he's pumping himself up. And then his second ability, remove 2 +1/+1 counters on it, and then you can regenerate it. So it's got more survivability against removal as well, which I absolutely love about the card. The other 1-drop we're playing is a 4 of Young Wolf, which is 1 forest for a 1/1, and it has Undying, which is another interesting ability. Whenever it dies and it has no +1/+1 counters on it, you put a +1/+1 counter on it and it comes back. A very good card. I love Undying as an ability. I think it annoys a lot of players, and Young Wolf is just a very good 1-drop to play. Now we go on to the 2-drop slot, which first of all we're playing 4 Strangleroot Giest, which is 2 forests, and it has haste. It's a 2/1, and again it has Undying. Now this to me is one of my favourite cards in the deck. Two green for a 2/1 with haste and Undying is just absolutely ridiculous. An amazing card to play overall, and you have to play a 4 of. Next one with 2-drop we're playing is Kalonian Tusker, which is 2 forests for a 3/3, just a vanilla 3/3 card. You'll find in this deck there's a lot of cards where they have very simple abilities. It's a very simple deck to play, and that's why I love it so much. It doesn't overcomplicate things, and yeah, 2 green for a 3/3 is just so much value for a creature. The next 2-drop we're playing is a 3 Avatar of Resolute, which is a double green, has reach, trample, 3, and it's a 3/2. The reach isn't, we're not too worried about that. I mean, it's good against flyers, but the trample is the main ability we're looking at here. And then of course, Avatar of Resolute enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each other creature you control with a +1/+1 counter. Now this has very good synergy with cards like Scavenging Ooze, which you'll see later on in the deck tech, Experiment 1, Young Wolf, Strangleroot Giest, a lot of creatures which will have +1/+1 counters. Yeah, so we're playing a 3 of that. The next 2-drop we're playing is Scavenging Ooze, like I just mentioned. It's 1 colourless and 1 forest, which isn't double green, which is quite funny. Considering the amount of cards we play, which is just playing double forest, triple forest. Interesting though. Scavenging Ooze, 1 colourless, 1 forest for a 2/2. You pay green, exile target creature from your graveyard. If it was a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on Scavenging Ooze and you gain 1 life. Very good late game card if it does. Sort of if you can't finish off the game quickly. The fact that you can sort of gain some life and then make him a lot bigger, and I mean it's only 1 forest as well, so very good card to play. Now we go on to the 3-drops, which I absolutely love this card. For 3 forests, Leatherback Baloth, 4/5 vanilla. A bit like the Kalonian Tusker, we're playing a 4 of them, and absolutely amazing card. 3 green for a 4/5. They pretty much say that it's a Siege Rhino without an ability. Absolutely amazing card to play. Have to play a 4 of. And the last 3-drop we're playing in the creature slot is Dungrove Elder, which we play just a 2 of, and it's got hexproof, 2 colours, 1 green, and its power and toughness is equal to the number of forests you control, which again, very good late game card. Hexproof is always good in modern, considering the amount of removal some decks have. And yeah, very good card. I wouldn't play a 4 of just because we're not playing too many lands and we sort of want to finish the game quite quickly. Next we go on to the other cards, and they are just pretty much the pump spells. First of all, we're playing a 4 of Rancor, which you have to play in this deck. It's a staple, 1 forest, and it's an enchantment. You enchant the creature and it gets +2/+0 and has trample. Of course, the Stompy element to that with the trample in it. And then its second ability, which is an amazing ability to have, is whenever Rancor is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, so if the creature dies, Rancor goes to the graveyard, Rancor goes straight back to your hand. So again, if a creature dies, you just put it onto the next creature and then swing in. So absolutely crazy card. Next we're playing is a 4 of Vines of Vastwood, which is another amazing card. It's only 1 forest, and you pretty much give a creature hexproof, but you can pay for its kick cost for an additional forest, which of course this deck can do, and it gives it +4/+4, and you'll end up finding yourself using it just as a pump spell, but very good to keep it in your hand as well. I've had some games where I've kept it in my hand instead of just spending the mana and just using it for the +4/+4. Keep it in your hand, and your opponent's going to remove your creature on their turn, and you just show this card and survivability again. And then the last card we play is a 3 of Aspect of the Hydra, which is 1 forest, an instant, and target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is your devotion to green. You could argue that you could play a 4 of in the deck, but again, it's an aggro deck. This card is absolutely amazing. Sometimes you can pump it up for God knows how much, like 6, sometimes 7, absolutely ridiculous for 1 green. But again, it's one of those cards which is very dependent on what cards you have out. If you don't have many creatures out, you'll end up using it and it might just pump out for 2. So just a 3 of in there. Now for the lands, we are playing 21 lands, 19 forests, basic forest, and 2 Treetop Village. Treetop Village is a very interesting land. It's a very good mana sink or sort of late game card if they've sort of wiped your board. It taps for a forest, and if you pay 1 colourless, 1 green, it becomes a 3/3 green ape creature with trample until the end of turn. The trample I absolutely love, and it's just another one of those cards. You might have a few pump spells in hand, you might not have any creatures with haste, so you want to finish the game off, you just activate one of your Treetop Villages and just swing in, and becomes another attack for them to block. Now we'll go on to the sideboard. Sideboard is 3 Dryad Militants, 1 green, or a white you can pay, but of course we're not playing any plains, so you can just pay it for its green. It's a 2/1. If an instant or sorcery be put into the graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. We're playing this card. I mean, originally it was in the main board as a 4 of, but I've sideboarded it out as a 3 of, just so we can sort of play it around cards like Snapcaster Mage, or any sort of cards which are reoccurring, like you've got like flashback like Lingering Souls, etc. So we will generally replace Young Wolf with it and put a Dryad Militant there instead. Then we're playing 1 Dismember, 1 colourless, and then of course you can pay for its Phyrexian cost, which is you pay 2 life, so you're pretty much paying 1 colourless and 4 life, and a creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn. Just a bit of removal in there for the deck if we're playing against something that's difficult to play against. Bit of a staple. Another staple here, Gut Shot. You can pay 2 life to deal 1 damage to target creature or player. I'm playing a 1 of Relic of Progenitus, I think that's how it's pronounced. 1 colourless for an artifact, and this card is used against dredge decks, or anything that has graveyard recursion. You tap it, target player exiles a card from his or her graveyard, apologies, and then its main ability, pay 1, exile the relic, and exile all cards from all graveyards, and then you draw a card. Again, very, very good against Dredge or any graveyard recursion if you can just exile their whole graveyard. We're playing a 1-of Troll Ascetic, which is an interesting choice because initially you could put a different card in there, which is Thrun the Last Troll. And Thrun the Last Troll is a lot better, a better version of Troll Ascetic, but this is more of a budget option for it. But anyway, yeah, it's 1 colourless and 2 green. It has hexproof, and you pay 1 colourless and 1 green and regenerate it, and it's a 3/2. I play this if they're playing a lot of removal, you know, you want to put another card in there. And of course the regenerate ability, so yeah, no, it's a decent card. And then next we're playing a 2-of Groundbreaker, which is I don't know, I fell in love with the card as soon as I saw it. I wouldn't play it in the main board because it's a bit of a hit and miss sort of card. You know what type of, you know when to sideboard it depending on the decks you're playing. And it is 3 green, 3 forests, and it has trample, haste, and then at the end of the turn you sacrifice it, and it's a 6/1. So it's very much this card it's one of those cards that you sort of go all in. I mean, the deck is generally one of that sort of deck that goes all in anyway, but we definitely don't want to be putting this in the main board because, you know, if you've got stuff like, I mean, even stuff like Gutshot, which will just deal with it. If they're not playing many cards which are doing sort of, you know, burn, if they're not playing many burn cards in there, so put Groundbreaker in. And especially if they're playing tokens and stuff like that, I found Groundbreaker was an amazing card put in against tokens because you'll just get him for so much damage, and especially if you just pump him up completely, you could probably end up winning the game. Very, very cool card though. Absolutely love it for the deck. I ended up sort of sideboarding into it quite a few times. The next card we're playing is a 2-of Natural State, which is 1 forest. It's an instant, destroy target artifact or enchantment with converted mana cost 3 or less. Again, get rid of those pesky enchantments that you might find ruining the game for you. And also it's good against affinity, so just destroying cheap artifacts. And then we're playing 1 Deglamer, 1 colourless, 1 forest, instant, choose target artifact or enchantment, its owner shuffles it into his or her library, again against annoying enchantments and affinity, and then Unravel the Aether, which pretty much does exactly the same as Glamour. And then we're playing a 1-of Creeping Corrosion, 2 colourless and 2 forest, destroy all artifacts. Again, as you can see, trying to combat affinity. And then Feed the Clan, which is an interesting card. Initially I was playing about 3 of in the deck with Feed the Clan. Very, very good card if you're playing against a deck which is sort of maybe slightly quicker than you, or is sort of hitting in for quite a lot of damage. They go for one big swing. And it is an instant, you gain 5 life, however with its ferocious ability you gain 10 life if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, which you generally will. And sort of 10 life can really get your opponent off guard if they end up sort of going all out on you to just finish off the game, and you end up sort of playing this card instead, and they end up being tapped out, or you know, all their creatures are tapped out, and then you can sort of respond on your turn by just finishing the game off and swinging in. But yeah, no, very, very good deck overall. I absolutely love it. Like I said, I feel like this deck resembles my playstyle, and you know, as soon as I saw you know, similar decks to it, I just sort of fell in love with it. But yeah, very, very good deck. It's also a very good deck for people who are maybe getting into Modern. I think aggro decks are sort of the way forward for people who are sort of just starting Modern, because you might be a big standard player, but Modern is a very, very different type of beast to Standard. Games can go so quickly, and playing a control deck can be quite difficult because there's so many cards in the format, and especially when you start playing Modern, you realise, you know, there's a lot of cards you've never seen before, and especially me. You know, I came in during sort of the Dragon's Attack here block, and I sort of came in during then, so there's a lot of cards in Modern which I haven't seen before, but you know, I mean, it's a very, very good deck. I find that it catches people unaware. Sometimes, you know, when people see the deck, you know, it catches them unaware. I mean, you've got similar decks like Infect, which is sort of an aggro-y deck, which does similar things where they pump the creatures up to try and get Infect damage on their poison counters. And Boggles as well. It's similar to Boggles in the sense that Boggles pumps up like a single creature which they can't block, whereas this is sort of multiple creatures. And yeah, no, very, very interesting deck. Very, I would say it's easy enough to play. Sometimes, I mean, you've got a lot of 2-drops in there. Sometimes it gets to the point where you think to yourself, well, we should play this 2-drop over this 2-drop. And you'll learn through the deck. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy peasy to play with, but yeah, absolutely amazing deck. And as you can see from the sideboard, you can change the sideboard up if you want to. This sideboard for me, I just feel like it's sort of trying to cover a lot of the big decks that I've played. And you know, I think everyone's sideboard's going to be slightly different by the time it gets to the GP in Birmingham in August. You know, the sideboard may be completely different, but as it stands at the moment, I'm happy with the deck, and I think, you know, you should try it out, especially if you're going to get into Modern. I think you could try it out. But no, very, very good deck. I love playing mono-coloured, and I think if you're going to go into Modern, try and stick to a mono-coloured deck, because first of all, it can be a lot cheaper. Decks in Modern end up being a lot more expensive. I mean, you've got certain cards like Liliana of the Veil and Snapcaster Mage, which are expensive cards, but land is a big, big factor when it comes down to playing Modern. You know, paying for lands. I mean, my original deck tech with Abzan Aristocrats, you know, the land there isn't that expensive, but when you compare the price of that deck to this deck, there is a big, big, big difference. You can easily sort of make this deck, you know, main deck and sideboard for about $80, I would say, maximum. And that's really the main reason for that is stuff like Dungrove Elder and Scavenging Ooze, and yeah, pretty much that. I mean, the sideboard's quite cheap as well. I mean, but and stuff like Experiment 1 and Strangleroot Giest, and Dungrove Elder, you know, they're quite difficult cards to find. But yeah, no, definitely I would recommend going for a mono-coloured deck if you're going to play Modern. I enjoy playing Abzan Aristocrats because I love the way Aristocrats work, but the mana fixing for me, sometimes I don't enjoy that, and of course paying for land. I mean, no one likes paying for lands, or trading for lands. It sort of becomes quite, you feel like it's a bit of a useless thing. But no, overall I enjoy it. Yes, definitely. So try it out. Thank you very much for watching the video. Subscribe, like the video, and if you like to, and then if you don't mind, you could comment and sort of give me any suggestions what you think you would add to the deck, because playing mono green, there are so many cards out there in Modern which you could slot in there instead. So I would love to hear your opinions on it, because I would love to see how this deck could be changed and how you think the deck could be played a lot better. Maybe you'd run more Avatars or Resolute in there, which is a very interesting card. I was thinking about adding some more, maybe adding more Dungrove Elders. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. See you later.
Hi guys, remember, if you like that video, please smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel. Let's keep the MTG community growing here on YouTube. And from this, please check out our other playlists. We have plenty of other Magic the Gathering content from myself and the other boys at Orcs Ed Magic, and we will catch you all very soon.